Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Why I Love This Artist series. Now today's video is going to be a little bit shorter probably than others, simply because I don't have as long of a relationship with this band as I do with some of the other artists that I've mentioned, like Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, groups like that, John Prine. And this is a group that really became prevalent to me during the COVID pandemic in 2020. And as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title, I'm talking about the Head and the Heart out of Seattle, Washington. Now, though based out of Seattle, they do have Virginia roots. Their lead singer, Jonathan Russell, and their drummer, Tyler Williams, are both from the Richmond area and still take up some residence there from time to time, from what I understand. So they do have a Virginia relation to them, which is kind of cool for me, being a Virginia native, born and bred. Here are the band members. Again, indie folk. They've now kind of turned to an indie pop kind of style, but I'm going to get into that here in just a second. So, a little background. So again, I started really getting into them in 2020. Actually, what really kind of clicked for me was their biggest song is called Rivers and Roads. And it's about, rivers, rivers and roads, rivers till I reach you. It's just about, being far away from people that you love, from your family, from your friends. There's a great line where they say, been talking about the way things change. My family lives in a different state. Just one of those songs about longing for where you've come from. And it was featured in a episode of the show New Girl with Zooey Deschanel. That was a show that I got into with my mom and my youngest sister during the COVID quarantine. We watched New Girl. It's quickly become one of my favorite shows, favorite sitcoms. And they used that song when one of the main characters is leaving the rest of the group to go pursue other ventures. And I heard that song and I was like, what is this song? Like, I feel like I've heard it, but don't know what it is. And like, I used my phone to like figure out what song it was. And it was Rivers and Roads by the Head and the Heart from this first record. And I was just blown away by that song. I couldn't get enough of it. And then I started like digging into more of this record, which I'm really wanting on vinyl. I still don't have it on vinyl. And just listening to it over and over and over again, just constantly ordering it. And then from that point, ordering all of their available catalog on CD, just like ordering it. I wanted everything that I could get by the Head and the Heart. And it was just one of the best decisions that I could have ever made. 2020 was an interesting year for me. I had gone through some things with a very brief relationship. And I think part of that really affected why I related so much to these songs. I mean, you have songs on here like Ghosts, Down in the Valley, like I said, Rivers and Roads, Honey Come Home, Winter Song, Lost in My Mind, Sounds Like Hallelujah, Heaven Go Easy on Me. Just the lyrics of these songs were exactly what I needed in that time of my life. I remember specifically just trying to find anything to do to get my mind off of things. And again, I wasn't going anywhere because of the pandemic. So I was driving around, just driving to kill time, to not be at home. And I remember blasting this CD in my car and just, soaking in the lyrics, listening to it, having it on repeat, and just using it as a form of healing from this terrible, brief relationship that I was in, if you even want to call it that. But again, lyrically, it all just made sense to me at that time of my life. And with that, I was like, I need whatever I can get by the Head and the Heart. So with that, again, like I said, I ordered all the CDs, but I'm going to show mostly vinyl here. This is a recent reissue, but it is their second album called Let's Be Still. It came out just last year. And let's see, there she is. So there's the front. And there's the back. This has some great tunes on it. It was released through Sub Pop Records. And just, again, songs on here like Homecoming Heroes, Another Story, which is just one of my favorite tunes of all time. Josh McBride is beautiful. Let's Be Still. My Friends, 10,000 Weight in Gold. These Days Are Numbered. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful record. And it's the last full album to feature co-founder Josiah Johnson, who is right here. He's also the lead singer of Rivers and Roads, like I mentioned. And this kind of falls in line with the first album, where it's more, you know, folk-based, acoustic, piano, kind of, you know, 3-part harmonies. And just, again, a wonderful record. The first record, the self-titled, I know was released before it even officially came out. Like they had essentially the album fully recorded. They were handing out at concerts, I think like in a denim sleeve. And then they essentially did a few overdubs, did a couple of re-recordings, but essentially that first album, what you hear is the original album that they were kind of hawking at shows in those early days, busking up in Seattle. And just a wonderful, wonderful first couple of records. Again, Josiah Johnson kind of had that folky tinge about him that made those first 2 records sound the way that they sounded. But he was going through his own addictions and that sort of thing. And again, just listening to this album was just such a, you know, again, wonderful thing to hear. Songs like Another Story, Homecoming Heroes, just wonderful, wonderful stuff that, yeah, just, again, mean so much to me. Then you jump into their third album, which, again, is one that I really want on CD. Oh, I should say, with that reissue of Let's Be Still, it did come with a magazine handout that has some really great interviews about the songs on that album, some wonderful pictures on there. So I highly recommend getting Let's Be Still just for the, you know, the new reissue. It's just got some great stuff in there. And actually I need to put this away. So I should say, here's the band, their classic lineup. You have Josiah Johnson here, Tyler Williams on drums, Charity Rose Thielen on vocals and guitar and fiddle, Jonathan Russell. So you have Jonathan and Tyler from Virginia, Kenny Hensley on the keyboards, and Chris Zash, I can't remember how you pronounce his last name, on the bass. But he's also a multi-instrumentalist that can play just about anything. So Let's Be Still, reissue, check it out. The third album is called Signs of Light. This is the last album to feature Josiah Johnson on in any capacity. He kind of was let go from the group, and partly on his own accord due to his addiction. But there's the band. There's Josiah right there. Jonathan, Chris, Charity, Kenny, and Tyler. This is the album. This is the transitional album. This is the album that really kicked them into being a indie pop band. Really great stuff on here, though. I mean, you have like All We Ever Knew, the first song, which is kind of this great, you know, like big chorus kind of song. Great production. The song Colors is one of the, just a couple of songs that has some lead vocals by Josiah Johnson, and also the title track, Signs of Light. Out of their, what, 5 albums, this is probably my least favorite. Still, I've tried and tried and tried to figure out why this album doesn't sit with me like the others do. It's definitely grown on me. I like it a lot, but I think it feels like it's a lot of like leftover songs. Like it doesn't feel like there's enough songs on here that were like the best that they could give. And probably part of that was because Josiah was going through some dark days and that sort of thing, and the rest of the band kind of had to figure out what to do. They also at this point have picked up really full-time Charity's husband, who is named Matty Gervais. Let's see if there's a picture in here. So they kind of like picked up a new member of the band, even though I think he had worked a little bit on their last record, Let's Be Still. But anyway, it was a transitional time for the band, but they knew that they wanted to go in this direction. And again, it's not one that stuck with me as much as the others, but I do like it. I'm trying to listen to it more. I listened to it just the other day, just to get a feel for it again. So again, I'm listening to these albums. I'm really loving The Head and the Heart. I'm still living at home at this point with my parents, and they had Sirius XM on in their vehicles. So we listened to a lot of Sirius XM if we were ever driving together, especially the channel, the Spectrum, which is channel 28, I think. And the Spectrum would play the song from their 4th album, which is called Living Mirage. This is a special edition with like this foil cover. They would play the song Misconnection and See You Through My Eyes. Again, they're moving into a full-on indie folk sound. They've added Maddie, who's right here, on backing vocals and kind of rhythm guitar. And it's just, again, very indie folk, I mean, indie pop sounding record. Is it the first album? No, not at all. Again, very produced. I think it's the first album after the first 3 that had outside writers attached to it. So it wasn't like the credits weren't just the head and the heart, which the other 3 albums were. But it's a really good album. I mean, there's stuff on here. Again, the more folky stuff is on here a little bit, like what is it? Glory of Music is just pretty much purely acoustic and just Jonathan playing guitar. But then you have like very like uplifting songs like I Found Out, People Need a Melody, See You Through My Eyes, which is beautiful. Running Through Hell is great. Up Against the Wall is great. But this particular album has a song on it called Honeybee, which is a wonderful little love song with a great little piano intro, sung by Jonathan and Charity. And that song holds a lot of meaning to me that I won't get into, but it holds a lot of meaning to me and always will. And the first time that I saw, so I've seen The Head and the Heart twice, and the first time that I saw them was September of 2022. And I saw them in Richmond, Virginia at the Altria Theater, which is where I've seen Bob Dylan a couple of times as well. And I remember I was not sure I was going to go to the show. Little did I know I was fighting strep throat. I wouldn't find that out until 2 days later, but I was feeling kind of sick. I was mentally and emotionally drained from the couple of weeks leading up to that concert. And the song Honeybee was the song Honeybee was one that I was afraid of hearing live. I was afraid that I was going to be emotional during it. I was, again, going to be at the concert. I had 2 tickets to the concert. I ended up going by myself. You can fill in those blanks. And the song Honeybee was going to be a tough one for me to hear. And again, I wasn't even sure I was going to go to the show because the next day I was supposed to go to Charlotte with my dad to see Elton John on his Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour. And I knew that that was like the big, of the 2 shows, like that was the show that I needed to get to, was Elton John, because it was a Christmas present to my dad. He had never seen Elton. He was a big Elton John fan, and I needed to go see Elton John with my dad. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm dying to see The Head and the Heart. I've never seen him before. I want to go. So I was an idiot and drove 3 hours to Richmond sick to see The Head and the Heart. Their opener was Shaky Graves, who was like, yeah, he was okay. He's also in kind of like that folky, like stomp clap style music. And I drove to Richmond by myself, had a seat beside me by myself, and remember like just having like a great time. It was like one of those things where like I needed to be there to kind of absorb like the previous few weeks events, and it was a healing moment. And then when they started playing Honeybee, I was fully expecting to just lose it, but I didn't. Like I took it and like I closed my eyes and just let the song hit me. and it was exactly what I needed that night. So literally, like, the Head and the Heart hold a very special place in my heart, and a lot of it can't be explained, especially that song Honeybee, but they're just a very, very, very special band to me, which is funny because, like, they're not exactly like the style of music that I ever thought I would like to get into, because they're very indie with these later records. But that song just it hits me exactly where it needs to. So with all that said, this is the expanded edition of Living Mirage. It's like, let's call it the complete session. So you have a few extra tracks, like Glory of Music 2, One Big Mystery, and Backwards Breathing. So yeah, this is a very special record to me. I love this record, and y'all should check it out if you like good like indie pop music. So that tour, when I went to so there is a live album and a very good Amazon documentary when they celebrated their 10-year anniversary. And they played at Pike Place Market in Seattle, Washington. The documentary interviews all of the members, including Josiah, who had already been gone for a few years. This is a really cool little, kind of a short live record. They have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 9 tracks, including Rivers on the Roads. This was based around the Living Mirage tour. So this is a live record that you can get. So check that out if you're a completist like I am. Again, the tour that I saw them on in Richmond was for their latest record called Every Shade of Blue, though they are teasing a new record very soon. They did probably about 3/4 of this record. Cool blue vinyl there. And what's funny is, like, you can see this painting was done by members of the band, and they actually had a charity auction online where you could buy like different versions of this painting that they did, and like I bet on a few of them and lost like last minute, but I wanted to get like a genuine like Head and the Heart painting to hang in my apartment, which is kind of cool. But you know, maybe one day I'll get something like that. But great songs on here. There's a song on here called Virginia, Wind in the Night, which is a cool song. Again, Jonathan and Tyler are both from Virginia. There's a song on here called Hurts But It Goes Away. Again, a very, very powerful song to me. Yeah, it was one that I heard on Sirius XM as well on a day that I really needed to hear it. That song and another song came back to back on the radio, and they were just exactly what I needed to hear that day. They were very thematic to what I needed to heal from different things. But yeah, Every Shade of Blue, again, I saw them on this tour twice. So I saw them, again, in Richmond, the first time that I saw them. And then the second time I saw them in Charlottesville, Virginia, which I did a review last year on that. And that was cool because Maddie, one of the singers, came down to the front and was shaking people's hands, and I got to shake his hand. And that was a killer show too. They had several openers. It was a hot, hot, hot day. I went to that solo. Very sweet time. I got to see a couple of friends from college that were there, who I hadn't seen since graduation in 2016. So that was really cool to see them. But again, kind of along the same vein as Living Mirage. Lots of indie pop, but this one's more contemplative. It's more mature, I would say. Again, this is kind of a post-COVID record. I'm not sure how old some of these songs are, but again, great songs on here, like Don't Show Your Weakness, probably one of my favorites on the record. Every Shade of Blue, which is what they opened with when I saw them in Richmond. And it's funny because, again, that show at Richmond, there was somebody that was there that I would come to meet later on. There's a lot of my life entangled with the Head and the Heart, and I love this group so much. I wanted to share a little bit about why I love them. I play their songs on guitar when I play out. I play 3 of their tunes. I play 4 of their tunes on guitar regularly, but I've played several just kind of in the comfort of my home. And would love to see them again whenever they announce the next leg of their tour. I think they're working on a new record as well. So that should be announced probably later this year. So I'm hoping that that is something coming in their near future. So let me know what y'all think. I don't expect this video to get a lot of views, simply because they're not a band that people are searching for as much as like the Beatles or, you know, Bob Dylan or whoever, Kiss. But I wanted to put this out there because it fits in line with my series. This is a band that I absolutely love and adore. The video went much longer than I was expecting it to go, but that's okay because, again, I can talk about these bands day in and day out. Let me know what y'all think. Please subscribe. Just let me know, again, what your favorite songs are by The Head and the Heart, if you've seen them. And, yeah, one of these days, you know, I will do another, you know, talk or, you know, whatever about the next phase of The Head and the Heart's music, or, you know, a concert review, whatever it might be. So I'll be definitely talking about them again. In the meantime, y'all be good, take care, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye now.